Let's do it. 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 Hey, it's been a little bit, hasn't it? Sorry, I was on vacation last week, and I think we were on break last week too, so it's been a little bit. But I'm back. Gonna do some One Piece recaps, look at these past couple chapters. I'll go quick over 1067, since I'm sure everyone has heard about that one from 2 weeks ago. That was a crazy chapter, but I was just so busy that week that I wasn't able to make one. I'll go through that quick, and then we'll get into this week's chapter. How's about that? Let's go. So we finally find out that Vegapunk actually has himself a devil fruit, and it's the brain fruit, which makes sense. This is a really cool ability, though, I think. Allowing you to memorize everything. A lot of people were saying that, like, oh, he only is smart because of his devil fruit, but I think that his devil fruit just helped him with all of his smartness. That's kind of what I insinuated out of this chapter, is that he's really smart by himself, but with his devil fruit, he's able to memorize and keep all that information with him, which just expands it even more. So, I've been talking the past couple of weeks saying that Vegapunk's gonna be like a brain in a jar or something. I mean, he's not like a shriveled old man like in New Vegas or Invincible or anything, but technically, his brain isn't in his head, it's in Punk Records, which is in itself like a giant jar. So, big jar. Kinda right. Halfway right there. A lot of the stuff that we found out in this chapter is kind of stuff that we've been insinuating, that we've kind of like been guessing the past couple weeks. How all of the punks are somehow still, they're all together in some weird way. At the end of all their days, they come back and then they put all of their memories and their stuff in the one big pool, in the big Punk Records at the end of the day. So that's how they kind of know all this information. They don't know all of each other's informations at the same time, like a lot of people thought. They only know all of the information together whenever they put it all into the big brain at the end of the day. So we find out in this chapter and the next chapter about kind of what Vegapunk's whole deal is, what his goals are, what his dream is, sort of. The two things that Vegapunk wants is that he wants everyone in the world to have free, unlimited energy and also free, unlimited information. What he's practically doing is trying to set up, like, our modern world. He's looking into, modern electricity and the modern internet in some sort of weird, wacky One Piece way. But Jinbei's like, but if, like, we just let everyone have energy, won't that, like, lead to bias and a bunch of nasty trolls and stuff? And he's like, yeah, but, like, whatever. Still gotta do it. Still cool, though, I kind of agree. It's like, just ignore them. We can just ignore those guys. Also, we see this part after the big, funny, bug thing. Everyone's like, oh, Zora's gonna use the lightsaber, but, I guess the lightsaber didn't work out that quickly. But we see Luffy, and he's like, check it out, a giant stag beetle. And it's crazy how I only remember this because I'm watching Skypiea right now, but in the Jaya arc, he collects, we find out that he really likes beetles. That's one of Luffy's, like, things that nobody really talks about, but he's, like, a huge fan of stag beetles. So actually seeing this come back after so far, back from, like, Jaya, that's so long ago, but that's still, like, a recurring, like, character trait of his. It's so cool. Love it. Love these little moments. Speaking of which, the big theory on, like, oh my gosh, why is Momo's fruit defective? Why is it defective? And of course we find out it's just because of the color. So that's a little disappointing that it's just like a little gag. It's a funny gag for sure, but I guess it's fine that we're learning now, and then it's silly. If it were important, I feel like we would have learned back in Wano at some point in time, but he can pretty much do everything. He can shoot fire and turn into a dragon. We just haven't seen him in his hybrid form yet. Are we going to see that by the end of the series? I want to see adult Momo in the hybrid dragon form. I think that'd be cool. Do it, Oda in the final arc. Have him be cool. Hit a guy with his hybrid form. It'll be epic. So a big thing at the end of this chapter is that Vegapunk wants to be taken off of Egghead Island, which really makes me think this really is going to be a short arc. Like, we're probably almost like a third of the way, if not halfway done with this whole arc. Especially after what we get in the next chapter. Well, at the end of this, because, Cypherpole is showing up right now. So the big fight's happening. CP0 is the villain of this entire arc right now. It's not Vegapunk, it's CP0. And we're already getting to them so quickly. I'm feeling like probably Elbaf is the very next thing. There may be like one more pit stop on the way, but I honestly think that Elbaf is going to be the next big one. and it's going to come way sooner than we thought. Like, we all knew that, obviously, this wasn't going to be Wano-size anything with Egghead, but I feel like we've only done, like, we have not had that many chapters here so far, but it is just going. Oda is not wasting any time. The pacing has been at breakneck speed. That's cool and all, but also I still want to see more good stuff with the Straw Hats. We got a lot of good stuff with Robin so far in this arc, with the O'Hara stuff, but, you know, everyone's like, oh, this is the Frankie arc. This is the Vegapunk and Frankie arc, where Vegapunk and Frankie are going to do crazy stuff. Frankie hadn't done hardly much. He's just done a little bit of exposition, and then he's looking around. He's been like, oh, this is cool. Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is crazy, you know? He's been doing that. Hasn't really done much. Hasn't had any character stuff happen just yet. I mean, he's such a wacky guy. We'll see. Fingers crossed that I'm just wrong here, but I think that the people expecting like big, huge Frankie things, you know, maybe tone it down a little bit. I still think it will probably get some sort of upgrade or something before the end of the arc, but nothing like super substantial will happen with his character, I don't think. With any of the other Straw Hats, really, you know. I don't know how long that took, but we're going to go ahead and jump right into the next chapter because this is the more recent stuff that I kind of want to talk about more. So in the past 2 cover stories, we've been getting Judge and Caesar reuniting. You know, they had a fight last chapter, and then I guess the fight is sort of concluded. Finally talking about how they're 2 members of MADS reunited. You know, that kind of wasn't mentioned last chapter, but yeah. And you see a little bit of a flashback with, I guess this right here is Caesar, and this right here is Judge, and then this up here is Vegapunk. You know, this is kind of how we remember seeing him with a striped shirt and, you know, cut up faces. Like, we know who he is now. Stop trying to hide it. What's the point in hiding at this point? We know who they all are, but man, these cover stories have been so intertwined with the current story way more than any of the others have before. Like, we got so much stuff with, you know, Whole Cake and, you know, going all the way to Kuzan and Blackbeard and Pudding, and then all the way back to this with, you know, the 2 MADS people who hung out with Vegapunk. When we have Vegapunk in this chapter, you know, we have Vegapunk in the cover story and also in the chapter, which, you know, these things don't happen in other cover stories, but it's happened twice in this one. So CP0's trying to get in, but they say that they're going to get in sneakily, which is good. I'm glad that the CP0 is doing something sneaky. That's kind of their whole shtick is, you know, they're a secret agency, so at least they're doing something sneaky. They're not going full-blown right in immediately. And they're using the Seraphim Kuma, which they call S-Bear. We find out later that they have S-Bear, S-Hawk, and S-Snake, and S-Shark. So they all have, you know, the names of the animals that they're associated with, because they're all associated with animals, all of the warlords. Now, I'm wondering what Moria's name is going to be, if there's a Seraphim Moria. It could either be S-Bat, it could be S-Gecko, because that's his name, and then obviously Doflamingo. Obviously, it's going to be S-Flamingo or something like that. I hope we get those 2. Those are the 2 left that I still want to see. I personally don't think that we're going to see a Law or a Buggy one, but I think that we'll definitely see a Moria and a Doflamingo one. Hopefully before the end. They still have not been mentioned. Maybe they're both the super secret ones. Maybe Doflamingo's the super secret one or something, but I don't know. It'd be cool. So we find out here that Kuma's Seraphim actually has his pawpaw fruit, or like some sort of genetic copy of it. Now I'm wondering what all fruits all of these people have, because they all have to have something for sure, because they gave Jinbei the swim fruit, which he doesn't originally have, but then this Kuma already has the one that the original one has, so I'm wondering that if we see, like, the Seraphim, Moria, or Doflamingo, will they already have their fruits, or will they have new fruits? Do the Mihawk and the Boa one, do they have fruits? Does Boa have the same fruit that the Seraphim Boa has, and does Mihawk have some weird, crazy fruit? But that's crazy, though, that the pawpaw fruit is coming back. Like, we literally see it right here, where the real Kuma is running. He's running, I'm figuring out he's probably going straight to Egghead Island, too. But he also uses the pawpaw fruit. I'm glad to see this. The pawpaw fruit is one of my favorite fruits in the whole series. Like, it's super good. It's super good. Like, I'm trying to think, and I don't think the Straw Hats ever really beat it. No one ever really beat the pawpaw fruit, you know, because they couldn't beat him back in Thriller Bark, And, you know, none of the pacifistas have that fruit, and they've only been able to take out pacifistas. They took out at least the one pacifista in Sabity before time skip. They were able to get out one. The only reason they lost is because Kuma came in, the real one, with his pawpaw fruit, and, you know, pawpawed them away. So technically, we still have not seen anyone defeat a user of the pawpaw fruit. It is a very powerful fruit. Maybe now that everyone's got hockey and stuff, maybe it doesn't work on people with hockey. Maybe people can like armament hockey block it or something. But we'll have to see on that. But I'm really glad that this fruit is coming back into play though. So Vegapunk's kind of explaining more how he's been practically just using the world government just for funds and research. Like I said earlier, his two things is that he wants you know, vast information available to everyone, and he wants a world where free energy is available to all. That's his big thing. So that's a pretty good goal. That's pretty nice goal. He's a pretty nice guy. Good guy, Vegapunk. He says that the way that he's trying to figure it out is from this ancient fuel from this ancient giant robot. Which this is going to be a big deal. There's still so much we need to learn about this ancient kingdom. Oh my goodness, just let us know. What is this ancient fuel? What is this eternal flame that they were talking about? I had that dumb theory a couple weeks ago about, oh, we have a bunch of Seraphim clones or something like that, but no, I think it's probably something else. But I'm wondering if it's going to be like an aha moment when we find out whatever this ancient fuel, whatever this eternal flame, whatever this crazy power source that the ancient civilization had. Like, it's got to be more than just like electricity or something. Maybe it's nuclear. That wouldn't make any sense though. I have no idea, but I'm excited to see. Hopefully sooner than later. Hopefully we don't have to like, I don't know if it'll come before the end of this arc, honestly, because he doesn't know the answer. So I'm guessing no. I'm guessing that I don't know how we're gonna find this out. In honesty, my biggest takeaway from this whole him talking about his dream about unlimited energy and stuff is Luffy's reaction, because you know he kind of has kind of a neutral, stoic reaction of like, okay, that's cool, I guess. Epic. He straight up says like, I've got no interest in being a hero though. Like he said that a couple of times, but like it made me really think about that in coinciding with his dream. Like I really liked it when he said that in Fishman Island. When he said it at the end of Wano, it was kind of weird, but it makes sense. It makes sense enough with his character that he doesn't care about what other people think about him. He says it's great you want to make people happy, but that seems like that has nothing to do with his dream. A lot of people think that his dream at the end of his life or at the end of his adventure is something that's like very selfless, even though it's something that he said when he was a small child. We know that he needs to be the Pirate King and able to achieve his dream for some sort of reason, but for whatever reason that is, it has got to be completely selfish. It has nothing to do with making the world a better place, you know, ending the world government or something like that. It's nothing weird and like, oh, hold handsy like that. It's gonna be something silly and stupid, but still probably a little bit heartwarming. Okay, we gotta talk about Kaku. I love Kaku. I love Kaku. He's my favorite part of this chapter right now, because he's hamming it up. He's like, I'm just happy to be here. This is cool. I like being around here and seeing all this cool stuff. I'm glad. I'm happy for you, Kaku. Kaku's one of my favorite villains in all of One Piece. I love his design. I love the way he fought with his giraffe. I love like the big twist, how he was, you know, sort of a friend at first and then was turned out. That was such a crazy twist. That's still one of the craziest twists in all of One Piece, for sure, was the CP9 reveal. Throughout this chapter, you know, Lucci over here, he's very stoic and trying to get the job done. Stussy over here is acting like that she's been here before and like kind of knows everything. Kind of be like the nosy tourist who's like, oh yeah, this is what this is. This is what this is. So she's been here before and knows what's up. So that's interesting. But then Kaku was just like, oh, this is just cool, man. Look at this cool space monster. I want to fight it and hit it and enjoy myself. He's enjoying himself, which I'm glad. He's definitely the highlight of the chapter for sure. So now officially, Vegapunk has asked Luffy to take him out to sea with him, which is, you know, that's a big deal, asking Luffy to, take you out to sea. I'm not saying he's like a new Straw Hat, a new crew member or something. He's obviously someone who's just gonna be along for the ride for a little bit until he gets dropped off somewhere else. I'm just wondering, how long is that gonna be? How many stops is he gonna be on here with his adventure? I'm assuming that what he's gonna do is that he's gonna take him off Egghead, and he's probably gonna put him on Elbaf. That's my working theory or prediction right now. I'm not gonna go crazy, like, oh my gosh, new crew member or nothing, but it is cool that he said yes that easily. He's like, oh yeah, you got a funny head. That's why. It's not because you're smart or nothing, or you're like one of the most important people in the world. No, it's just like you're funny. You're funny, sir. We'll let you on. Get on. So the first big confrontation of this arc, Atlas, which is one of my favorite of the Vegapunk designs. I really like Atlas. I like Atlas's character. So the fact that Atlas over here, goes for a punch, and I don't even know if she even gets the hit, but immediately just get Six King pistoled, get knocked out in one hit by Rob freaking Lucci, man. Insane. Now there's a lot of talk about, how strong is Lucci compared to how strong is everyone else, in the New World, especially the Straw Hats, and then especially Vegapunk, who you think would be a little stronger than this. I really thought that Atlas was gonna, be a little stronger, especially because we saw in her introduction chapter that Luffy punched her, and, she didn't feel nothing, and then punched him right back. So we're like, oh man, this person's strong. Like, I always saw that as kind of a goofier chapter that wasn't like a big like power scaling thing, but Atlas did get hit by Luffy and didn't feel nothing, and Atlas did get hit by Lucci and did feel a lot of something. So those are the facts that we have to roll with for now. But here are also the other facts. Rob Lucci got defeated by Luffy a long time ago, and Luffy just defeated Kaido, who is the strongest creature in the world. So, obviously, he's gotten stronger since his fight in Enies Lobby. This is the New World. This is what happens. This is what happened to Crocodile. You know how much of a bounty Crocodile's gotten? He got defeated by Alabasta, pre-time skip, Luffy before Hockey, before Gear Second, before all that, and we still show how crazy Crocodile is and stuff. We can do the same with Lucci. We're doing the same with Lucci. He got stronger. We'll just assume that he knows hockey. I'm wondering, though, if he's any stronger than Who's Who, because we saw Jinbei fight Who's Who, and the whole thing with Who's Who is like, oh man, he's like an even epicer Rob Lucci. He's a saber-tooth instead of just a little leopard, and he's got hockey and stuff, and he works for Kaido, It's like, oh, this would have been like the Super Lucci if he had stayed in CP9. That was like his whole shtick. And now we're just getting more of that in the next arc. We get another Catman in this arc who knows all the weird Cypher Pole martial arts. Lucci and Luffy meet up at the end of this chapter real quick, though. Like, there's no fanfare of him, going through a bunch of fodder or nothing, or defeating, like, the second biggest guy or nothing like that. It's just like, we're going right in, which, again tells me that this is going to be a shorter arc if we're just going to go right in, because this is what we're all looking for. There's nothing greater than Lucci versus Luffy at this point. There's no bigger battle that we think is going to happen on Egghead, so I don't care too much on arguing on how strong Lucci is compared to Luffy at this point. It should be a curb stomp, technically. He just learned Gear 5th. None of this other stuff should be a problem at all. Some of us were kind of hoping that Lucci would fight against someone else. I hope that we get a Kaku fight, too. We saw Kaku get electrocuted earlier before, but hopefully that was just like a little gag thing and not like ooh, Kaku's out of the fight already, because I really want to see a Kaku fight almost more than I want a Lucci fight. He's got a more interesting fighting style. But I just want an interesting fight. A lot of people just want Luffy to one-shot him. I don't want that. I want like at least two or three chapters of a good choreographed battle, because we haven't even had a good battle like that really since Kaido, I guess we had the Green Bull stuff, and then we had the Jinbei stuff, but besides that, we haven't had like a really good knockout, battle. And I want to see. I'm ready for more fights. We've had a lot of good adventure and exposition and lore dumps and a couple character things the past couple months. Post Wano's been awesome, but I'd like a little bit of action. I'm a little hungry for that. So, Luffy versus Lucci, that could do it. That could do it for me. Rematch we've been looking for. I'm excited. I'm just excited. So that's what I'm gonna leave at. I'm excited for this fight. I'm hoping to cover it more. I'm gonna try and do these more often again. Get back on my saddle of making these videos. Hopefully, I will see y'all next week for 1069. Holy moly, we've been doing this for a lot. I've made a lot of chapter reviews so far, and thank you for everyone who's been watching. And if you watch this and want to argue about power scaling or something in my comments, do it. Just do it. I don't care. Do it. And give a like and a sub too if you want to see me cover more of this for sure. So I'll see y'all later. I do declare.